Clean and sanitize frequently touched common surfaces and high traffic areas in your home and workplace several times a day. Share these guidelines with others and help prevent the spread of illness and maintain a healthy environment. An ounce of prevention is worth a ton of cure.
Good morning to all the Namibian learners out there. My name is Ngamen Dunge Namwandi, and I'll be your English teacher for today. In my class today, I have Chanel. Good morning, Chanel, and welcome back to our class. Before we start with today's lesson, we are going to take our hand sanitizers, sanitize our hands, rub in and out between your fingers, Chanel. Okay, straighten our arms just to see if we are keeping the social distance. So today's lesson will be about pronouns. Today we are going to look at pronouns. Let us look on page 3. What is a pronoun? A pronoun is a word that we use instead of a noun. Chanel, can you still remember what a noun is? Yes, you can still remember what a noun is. A noun is a naming word. So we use a pronoun, or a pronoun is a word that we use instead of a name. So if I don't want to keep mentioning your name, say for instance, Selma, Hilda, I would rather use a pronoun to replace it with your names. Now, we are going to look at the different types of pronouns that we have. We have a personal pronoun and a possessive pronoun. When we talk about personal pronouns, we are simply referring to people or things, okay? Now, we use a pronoun to replace a noun. Examples, when we are referring to people, we have I, me, you, she, he, us, them, they, we. And when we are referring to things, because we cannot say he, she, we use it, this, and they. Moving on, we are going to move on to possessive pronoun. What is a possessive pronoun, Chanel? A possessive pronoun indicates ownership. What does that mean? It shows that something belongs to someone or something belongs to a thing. Example, when we are referring to people, we use the words like my, mine, your, yours, his, her, hers, our, ours, theirs. And when we are referring to things, we use its. Now, very important, I just want to make something very clear, because we confuse it with an apostrophe and it with belonging. Now, let us look on the chalkboard. I'm going to explain the difference between the two. It's without an apostrophe and it's with an apostrophe. It's without an apostrophe shows possession. What does that mean? It means that something belongs to a thing. For example, the cat is licking its tail, okay? And it's with an apostrophe. It shows contraction. This is what we call an apostrophe. Right, now, what does contraction mean? Contraction means when the word is shortened. Now, if it's with an apostrophe, it means that there is a letter missing, but it's not forgotten. Okay? There is a letter that is omitted. There is supposed to be a letter here, but it is shortened to make the word small. So this means it is. And this one, like I said, it says the cat is eating its food. I hope you can see the difference between the two. This is for possession, that means it's for belonging, and this is for contraction, meaning the word is shortened or it is made smaller. Chanel, can you see the difference? I hope you're not going to confuse these two. It's without an apostrophe and it's with an apostrophe. I hope that you are paying attention and that you are ready to do your work. But before we say goodbye, Chanel, we are going to take our hand sanitizer, sanitize our hands, rub our hands in and out, in between our fingers, straighten our arms, Chanel, just to see if you are practicing the social distance. Goodbye.
Hi everyone. You can't hug your friends anymore, but you can still give yourself some love, or you can practice how to blow hugs. Mwah, 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 mwah. And until next time, bye!
Good morning to all the Namibian learners out there. My name is Ngamendunge Namgandi, and I'll be your English teacher for today. In my class today, I have Chanel. Chanel, good morning and welcome back to our class. But before we start with today's lesson, we are going to take our hand sanitizers. Sanitize our hands. In and out, in between our fingers, straighten our arms, just to see if we are keeping the social distance. Today's topic will be about reflexive pronouns. So on page 3, before we start with today's lesson, we are quickly going to do a quick recap on the lesson that we did previously. So we are going to look at personal pronouns. Chanel, can you still remember what a personal pronoun is? Okay, so a personal pronoun refers to people or things. Okay, examples of personal pronouns are I, me, you, she, he, us, them, they, we. When we are referring to things, we simply say it, this, or they. Moving on to possessive pronouns. Chanel, can you still remember what a possessive pronoun is? Yes, you can still remember what a possessive pronoun is. A possessive pronoun shows ownership. It shows that something belongs to someone or something belongs to a thing. All right, now, examples of possessive pronouns when we are referring to people are my, mine, your, yours, his, her, hers, our, ours, theirs. When you are referring to things, it becomes its. Moving on to page 4. Learners, I want you to look on page 4. Now, on page 4, there is today's topic, reflexive pronoun. What is a reflexive pronoun? A reflexive pronoun refers back to a noun or pronoun. Reflexive pronouns are used when the same person or people appear twice in a sentence. Now, in that box, there are examples that are given for you. I is an example of a personal pronoun, but when we have to refer it to a reflexive pronoun, it becomes myself. Quickly, before we come to the example, I want to highlight one important thing, and that is a reflexive pronoun usually ends with self or selves. Now, self refers to one thing, and selves refers to more than one. All right, now, the examples in the box are I. I is a personal pronoun. So when you refer it to a reflexive pronoun, it becomes myself. You. You can be one person, or when we are referring to more people. So if it's one person, it has to be yourself. If it's more than one person, it becomes yourselves. He. When we are referring he to a reflexive pronoun, it becomes himself. She. When we have to refer it to a reflexive pronoun, it becomes herself. It. When we have to refer it to a reflexive pronoun, it becomes itself. We simply means we are in a group, we are many. So it becomes ourselves, and they becomes themselves. Now, underneath there are few examples of reflexive pronoun and personal pronouns, and this is just to show you how we use it in a sentence. Chanel, do you have any question? She understood. She does not have any question. Learners, I want you to look on page 5. On page 5, there is a story for us. I am going to ask Chanel to read it to us, and please, you need to listen and pay attention. As she reads, you are quiet. We are not going to read the whole story for you. You must ask Mommy and Daddy to finish it for you. Chanel, start. Paul had a funny experience at school today. She made a Valentine's card for John, but he did not make one for her. I wish he had made me one too, she thought to herself. we are going to stop there. Let us give Chanel a round of applause. Woo! We are going to read the question number 10. Write down the examples of reflexive pronoun from line 3 and line 14. On page 6, there is exercise 2. Exercise 2, the instruction says, look at the pictures next to the sentences and choose the correct reflexive pronoun to fill in the blank spaces. Now remember, I said reflexive pronouns, they usually end with self and selves. Now you are going to look at the pictures and you are going to determine which reflexive pronoun will fit in the blank space. I'll do one example for you. Always protect yourselves from the rain. Always protect yourself from the rain. That is number 1. Moving on to page 7. On page 7, the instruction says, write the correct personal pronouns below the reflexive pronouns given to start a sentence with. Okay? Now, in the small box, you can see there are examples of personal pronouns. So what you are going to do is, example, myself. Now, you are going to write a sentence using a personal pronoun that falls under myself. I've given you the example, and the example is, I love myself. Underneath the box or underneath the column, there is also an activity that you need to do. B, the instruction says, underline the reflexive noun in each sentence below. Now, if you see any word that ends with self or selves, that means that will be your reflexive pronoun. Chanel, are you following? Yes, she is following. So I hope you are also following and that you are paying attention. Learners, let us look on page 8. On page 8, there is exercise 4. Exercise 4, the instruction says, identify the types of pronouns underlined in each sentence and write them on the lines provided. Now, if you can still remember, previously we did personal pronouns and possessive pronouns. So I hope you can still remember the examples of personal pronouns and possessive pronoun. But the instruction says the types of pronouns underline, meaning you are going to write what type of a pronoun is I. And number 2, you are going to write what type of a pronoun is she. So I expect you to write personal pronoun or possessive pronoun or reflexive pronoun. Underneath number 10, there is also an activity that you will have to do. The instruction says, write the reflexive pronoun from the box below to complete each sentence. Now, the examples of reflexive pronoun are written in those small boxes that you see there. Number 1, I told to always give all my effort. So now you are going to fill in the blank spaces where I say da 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 da, the type of reflexive pronoun. In any case, I'm going to fill that one for you. I told Chanel, who? Myself, to always give all my effort. Learners, I hope that you are listening and that you are paying attention. Let us move on to page 9. On page 9, there is exercise 5. Exercise 5 falls under possessive pronouns. Now, there is an example that is given to you in the box. The example is I and me are pronouns used within a sentence. I is used in the subject of a sentence. Example, George and I clean the kitchen every evening. Me, when do we use me? Me is used in the predicate of a sentence. Example, Shannon will give me the doll. Now, the instruction for the activity that you are going to do is you are going to write I as a personal pronoun or me as a personal pronoun on the blank line to complete each sentence. Chanel, are you with me? Yeah, she's listening. My sister wanted to help with my homework. So you will have to fill in one of the personal pronouns, whether it is I or me. Moving on, there is also an activity that you need to do underneath number 10. B, it says, fill in the missing words in the table below. Use the correct reflexive pronoun. Now, you are given 2 blocks there. One is for personal pronouns and the other one is for reflexive pronoun. Underneath me, you will have to write a reflexive pronoun that refers to me. Underneath us, you will have to write a reflexive pronoun that refers to us. Underneath you, you will have to write a reflexive pronoun that refers to you. Underneath it, you will have to write a reflexive pronoun that falls under it. Chanel, do you have any question? No. Learners, I hope that you have paid attention and that you are going to do your work. And please always remember to wash your hands. But before we say ta-ta, we are going to sanitize our hands. Chanel? Rub our hands in and out between our fingers. And it's time to say ta-ta!
Hi everyone, I'm back, and if you are scared of what you read on social media, talk to your parents and ask them the questions. They know everything. Until next time, bye!
A rare tropical disease, the Zika virus, is spreading rapidly in parts of Latin America and the Caribbean. In March 2015, the Zika virus first surfaced in Brazil and has infected more than 1 million people. The International Atomic Energy Agency, the IAEA, and the Food and Agricultural Organization, FAO, have responded swiftly to the Zika crisis. These UN agencies came together to make available a nuclear technology that controls pests by rendering the males infertile with radiation. This is called the Sterile Insect Technique, or SIT. A group of scientists from around the world gathered in Brazil recently to examine SIT's effectiveness. They have concluded that SIT is an efficient, safe, and environmentally friendly technique to control pests and fight diseases such as Zika. Conceived in the early 1930s, the idea behind SIT is a simple one. It involves bringing the insects into a laboratory, rearing them in large numbers, and sterilizing only the males with ionizing radiation such as gamma or X-rays. For SIT to work, millions of sterile male insects must be released into the wild for several months to outnumber the fertile ones.
What's going to happen is that these sterile males are going to seek out the virgin females, they're going to mate, but there's going to be no offspring. So there's going to be reduced population replacement, and you will see that after a while the target population is going to go down.
At the IAEA's Insect Pest Control Laboratory in Siebersdorf, Austria, entomologists have been developing and improving this technique for over 50 years. It's already been used in around 25 countries, mainly to tackle pests, such as fruit flies and tsetse flies. Experts are now developing techniques for the mass rearing of mosquitoes and transferring them to countries affected by Zika to help them integrate SIT into their pest control programs. Over 100,000 mosquitoes from 3 different species are kept here. Special attention is being given to this one, the Aedes aegypti, which is responsible for spreading the Zika virus.
What we have seen in the past is that Aedes aegypti control with conventional control tools has not been very successful. So we consider this as one additional new tool that could be used to integrate with the conventional methods.
Scientists have created a special environment for the entire life cycle of the mosquito, from the egg to the larvae, to the pupae to the adult. The pests live, feed, and mate in large, specially designed cages. Thorough research has determined the right dose of radiation to sterilize the males, without damaging them or affecting their mating ability. In a further step to help countries tackle the Zika virus, the IAEA is providing portable equipment for the rapid detection of the virus. Training scientists from the affected countries to use this system is also underway. When fully implemented and used alongside other control methods, the sterile insect technique could help countries reduce the numbers of mosquitoes and cope better with the diseases that these small but deadly creatures can spread.